Hello and welcome back to episode 11. Today the idea is that we want to finish the last chunk of the 15 chunks that we had as a project last time, and we also want to start a new project. Now you see the chunk that I was talking about down in the left of the middle, marked by a new editing thing that I found, a new editing tool, which is quite interesting. I'll be exploring more of this program underway. And so I am missing the clip where I finished that last chunk, unfortunately. I was going through them, but I couldn't find that particular part. Other than that, we decided to gather some more stone by shortening the total height around the hole, as you see marked by these two new things that I drew. And we can load that right into the smelter. And then we go and grab some dirt. We move it over to the temple to save some space in our base and probably reduce the lag a little bit. We also found a few other boxes of things that we put over here, the tuff. And then we can get right into the building part. So, a little music. And here we hit our first obstacle. Now, we didn't get very far, and I start digging this out, but while I'm digging here, I'm just thinking, this doing manual is going to take a very long time. I also dive into a cave in the island that I thought was way bigger. As I've been flying around the map before, I have found a cave that looked a little bit like this one, but it was massive. It was really big cave. Now, the idea for this island is actually to blow it up with TNT flying machines, and we also need wood. So the first preparation is obviously removing the lava, and then we decided, cutting down all these trees will give us a lot of resources, and we won't have to build a wood farm or tree farm for a bit longer. So we decided it would be an interesting change the project to just go and chop down all these trees by hand, and so that's what we decided to do. But before I get on with that, I have a few more things I want to do. And as you see here, this is where the original plan for the wall was, but I go over to the water temple, and I have for a long time wanted to drain this. I have drained most of the insides. So now I'm starting on the outside, and it's an absolute nightmare because of all the guardians. And bit by bit we get all the gravel placed down, and I decided to do some more mining underwater, as this is also a very needed process. And this is by the Mushroom Island, as you can tell by the glimpse of land over the water. I go around and I collect all the materials I can, and I keep going with the gravel placement. Then I grab all the kelp and put it back in the kelp smelter. I found a drowned with a trident, but I didn't get the trident. I mean, killing it with an axe isn't really beneficial if you want the looting part. But we get some more gravel placed, we get some more underwater growth removed. But it's an absolute chaos, so I decided to go inside the temple instead and work a little bit more on the draining part. It looks drained by now, but behind these walls there is still a little bit of water. So I get going with that, and I'm sorry that I missed all the footage from the draining part. I'm not sure when I filmed it, it's still a bit of time ago. Then I get moving with these 15 chunks, and we are making good progress. And I think in the in the next clip it's already gone, because that's where I'm missing parts. After I finish it, I decide to go and grab some ores from the drained area. And I think it's before I did this that I finished the last chunk, but I'm not entirely sure. I've also cut out most of the ore mining, but I went over and I think I found all the ores that were in the area. And yeah, as you saw here, the chunk is missing. I grabbed some more honey so I can keep working on the big machine. And yeah, I'm amazed by how fast I built it with just the honeycomb blocks. I go over here and I keep mining some stone, and this is around the area of the Halloween mobs from 2023. And I didn't manage to get any in 2024, but that's fine. I'm now going to show you the map. So this is the idea. I'm going to build the wall along here, as you see by the stapled line, and this island is in the way. So we have to remove the island and the trees before we can build that wall. And as I'm flying over towards the island and over it, you'll see just, how incredibly big it is. And not a neighboring island, that's something for a later project. Also, when thinking about it, I should have flown closer to the island when I was filming or flying over it, because then it would be easier for you guys to see how big it is. Instead, I was flying too much on the side in the very beginning of this flight. But it's very easy to, be wise after. And we finally get to the point where we're going to start cutting down these trees. And I start with the most annoying kind of tree that there is. The ones with so many, branches and everything. It's a nightmare. Especially when you're going to remove, I think we removed somewhat close to 30 or 40,000 blocks of wood. Which is a lot. But I think that's in total, and including the birch. And the birch, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do with. I'm probably going to make chests. I'm like, well, in this case, I'm like most people, and I don't have a big thing for birch trees. In Minecraft, that is. I went over to check the stone smelter, and I realized I haven't checked in for a very long time. So we have almost an entire double chest of stone. And so I fly over to the temple, and every time that we manage to fill up a double chest, that's like a milestone. And I'm not entirely sure how many stone that is, but it's a lot. But the idea is that we get to move the magma block, which is, well, it's a goal. I forget that Haze 2 is so incredibly good, and I end up mining through parts of the temple. But while I'm here, I decide to grab some more deep slate, and the idea is to, dig out all the area underneath the temple. Obviously, I haven't come very far yet, but I'm not spending very much time at the temple either, so I think it's fair. I get going with the gravel placement on the water temple before I grab more honey, and then I can move the honey over to the machine. And I always do in sets of 4, so that will give me a full stack when I'm done. When I collect the honey, sorry. Anyway, we get over to the island, and you can see some of the progress that we have made so far, which is quite a lot, honestly. And a bit later, there's only these trees left on this bigger part of the island. I take refuge in a tree while one of these phantoms are chasing me. But then I just chop it all down, keep going, and eventually we have been able to cut down on the smaller half of the island. And I'm flying around now, just making sure that there are no trees left and no logs left, because sometimes you forget one. And when you've been going on for hours and hours chopping down trees, missing one log is very, very easy. As I'm flying over, I keep getting fooled by these trees that look like they are not, completely cut down, because so much of them remains. And that's probably just due to uneven, cutting down. Then the leaves don't have time to despawn properly. As you see ahead of me, there are trees left, and these ones on the left side, they are quite far outside the wall, and I don't see the need to chop them down yet, as they won't interfere with building wall, nor will they interfere with the TNT machines that I'm going to be running. They are just simply there, and I think that I can deal with them later, because when I built the wall and started building the castle properly, I want to terraform the area around, but for now I have absolutely no clue what I'm supposed to do with it, and so therefore I'm just leaving it natural, as I find that that tends to inspire me a little bit more. I find one of the trees that we've cut down, but see that it's not properly cut down, and I have 2 remaining on this island and 1 on a neighboring island, and I'll just chop them down. Now I am missing footage from my friend. She hasn't been recording all of this, so I don't have any recordings from this part of the project from her perspective. But also, she does a really good job of cutting down trees on our spawn island and our neighboring island in the near future. And I don't have any of the recordings, unfortunately. Go over and I check that the trees are properly falling down. I think the one I'm just running past is one I actually missed a log or 2. Because in later time, when I've gone back to the island, I've actually discovered that tree is still standing. Well, not the tree, but the leaves are still there. And but I do some thorough work on this one. I was just fooled by the sapling that fell down on the previous one. Made me think that the whole tree was done. And I decided to use the light from the sky as a reference so that I can check for any solid blocks. But while editing this, I found a really strange, I don't know, bug or glitch. Because I did this part of the recording in one take, yet here, a few seconds ago, the recording just, cut off, and half of the voice that I recorded just, disappeared. Because I did the recording all the way to the end of the video, which is quite annoying. But anyway, I am flying around in the area that we had the original plan. I remember digging this call it a trench, and I remember placing all this double chest. Yeah, that's a long time ago. Also, my friend has cut down, or right after this, she cuts down all the trees in our spawn island and the neighboring island where we found our first nether portal. Unfortunately, this is from a time before I did YouTube or even thought about recording it. I only have a few screenshots and that's about it. But for now, I feel like this episode is done, so I went over to the map and I looked at the area. This is where she removes trees on our spawn island. But as I said, I'm going to wrap it up. This is the neighboring island. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your support. It really means the world to me. And other than that, have a good night or a good day, and I hope to see you in the next one. So, goodbye.